Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Games Industry Executive Summary. If this is your first time visiting us, then you need to hit the bell button, the subscribe button, whatever buttons you see or have access to. Please do hit them. That would help us greatly. And of course, if you want the best and only newsletter that you need in your life for video games,
Or
then you go
anything.
to
No newsletters. Don't you shouldn't know about anything besides video games. That's my opinion.
okay.
The only
But
newsletter.
I would still tell you to go to Gies Weekly. That's GIES weekly.substack.com. Please subscribe. Help us in any way and shape you can. Of course, you just heard my friend and colleague, the dashing Dave Thier.
Word.
Welcome on board.
Good to be
And
here.
as always, with the matching salmon shirt, the accountant's cousin, the analyst, Manu Rosier. Manu, did you know that there is an Accountant 2 that just came out recently?
Yes.
I haven't seen that. It's on the list.
Yeah. Me too. Me neither. Sorry. Yes. It's on my radar.
Awesome. There's a lot of cool stuff that happened. Is it this week or last week? Microsoft Showcase, or Xbox Showcase, rather.
I think
There you go.
time flies,
Yeah.
Time flies.
That was
6. So end of
yeah. And last.
last week.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask you about your life today, unfortunately. I think we have a lot to cover and too little time. But I unfortunately did not have the time to watch this one. I didn't, last week I didn't have the time to watch the PlayStation Showcase. But there are some really cool games here that I'd like to explore and talk about. We have the Outer Worlds 2. The first one was amazing.
Yeah, this is an exciting one because I think the first one was amazing, but it's a classic sequel opportunity, right? There was more to do there. There were certainly technical improvements to be made, and so I think that I'm really excited to see what they do now they have that base with them.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts about it, Mark? Did you play the first one?
Yeah, it was okay for me. It was not groundbreaking, but let's see with the new one. I'd say in general, this what's the name of it? Showcase following the state of play from PlayStation. I think there are so many games around, so many games coming on all platforms. And now also the fact that you have more and more PlayStation games available on Xbox. You have all the Microsoft games basically available on PlayStation. It feels like there is so much to play.
It's
Can you
overwhelming.
elaborate on that? I mean, did Microsoft make a strategic decision to make more of their games available on PlayStation?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not day and date, right? It's like,
Yeah, it is.
It is day and date.
I think it's gonna come. Maybe it's not completely, but I think it's gonna. I mean, they brought the whole catalog already, and I'm not sure there are any Xbox exclusive anymore, but I might be wrong.
Okay.
We haven't seen it we haven't seen the new day and date with like a major Microsoft Studios thing like Gears of War or some shit like that. But pretty much everything else, yeah.
If I remember correctly, the Indiana Jones game was not on PlayStation, right?
No, that was released before they. I mean, it is now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
but when it was released, it was just kind of before this initiative was going full steam.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Then Xbox Game Pass on PlayStation when?
I mean that for me is that's the big thing. Is I think obviously there's a lot that needs to happen in order to make that work, but I think that that Game Pass should be on Steam. It should be on PlayStation. It should be on Switch if they can make that work. That for me is the future of Game Pass.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. The next item that's on the showcase was High on Life 2. Mm-hmm. Also another really solid game. The first one was really solid. It got a bit, you get tired of it after a while, but really fun to play. Interesting mechanics, interesting characters, all that stuff. Any thoughts about this one?
Yeah, I think the first one was a AA, but maybe there is a path where it becomes even more mainstream. I see it had some success. It's not like a 10 million unit type of game, but and it seems, super polished. Huh? like visually very impressive. Reminds
Yeah,
me a bit of
definitely.
Plant vs Zombies with
Yeah.
Alien. Very creative. So that's cool. I mean, always happy when you have creative games that don't look like carbon copies of every other shooter. So
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and the level of visual polish they seem to be getting in this new one is
yeah,
remarkable.
absolutely.
Thank you. The next item I'm seeing here in front of me is Resonance: A Plague's Tale, or A Plague Tale. Maybe I'll ask Dave. I don't know. Whoever wants to chip in, of course, chip in. I have zero experience with a Plague Tale series. Is it called a
Yeah,
Plague's Tale? What is it
I
called?
think it's just a Plague Tale.
Plague Tale.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't play the original, but it seemed cool. And yeah, that's sort of all I've got to say. Ultimately, I do. You know,
I've played
I do
both.
think. Yeah. Okay, we got someone who knows what he's talking
Yeah, I've played both. I finished both. I kind of it's very story driven type of game. A little bit more of the walking simulator side. The gameplay as such is not really interesting. There's a lot of hide and seek and stuff like that. But visually, it's really very cool, very very nice. And also, the first two were around if I remember, France in the 17th, 18th century. So it had a nice flavor to it, nice setting. And this one, I think, is different.
Looked
Apparently,
like some Venice going on just there in that video.
maybe they are going the Assassin's Creed way. So
Oh
they're
Yeah,
gonna
no.
have.
everyone goes to Venice.
Is there a
And
Matrix thing going on here as well, or is this like just a fantasy?
No, it's
it's
fantasy.
not Venice,
There is
not
nothing.
fantasy.
It's not like as I mean, when I mean Assassin's Creed, is that a concept that they port in different eras rather than
No.
just
Yeah,
some kind of computers, AI stuff behind it. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. The actually interesting part of Assassin's Creed, not the weird sci-fi understory.
Yeah.
But I think what's interesting to me about these is that I think that this is like it used to be that a narrative like a 3D narrative game was like the big AAA thing, right? That's like Uncharted and all that. And people aren't as interested in that anymore. You know, obviously Naughty Dog is going to make the thing with the Adidas and whatnot. But aside from that, it's not like the main thrust of AAA games. But I think it's a great place for AA games to start going. And that's a great place for them to kind of take that over. Like, I don't think that should be what AAA games look like necessarily.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll move over to the next item here, which is so Xbox decided to do handheld. I mean, you've been putting these in the rumors, but now not a rumor anymore. They're teaming up with is it Rogue or ROG Ally Asus, in other words, to create a hardware, a handheld hardware.
Well, it's just the branded version of an existing. I mean, of the second model of an existing hardware. So it's not really.
Well, the
I don't
hardware,
think.
but the software, that's the
Yeah.
headline, really. Yeah.
Yeah. Because other than that, it's just the button. No, they have a Xbox button and things like that. That makes it Xbox branded. But yeah, the software is the interesting part.
But what's the point with this? Like, why do you think Xbox chose to go this route?
Because you can't have Game Pass on Steam Deck.
Yeah. Again, Xbox is slowly transitioning to being the Game Pass company. And I think this is a good place for them to be. Clearly, hardware hasn't really worked out. And right now, they do seem committed to selling Game Pass on things that are nominally their hardware. And this is nominally their hardware. I still think that the future is moving it past that.
And there will be a convergence of operating systems between Windows Desktop and then Windows Portable, Xbox OS. It will become one somehow. I think what they wrote or what they say is that the Xbox operating system would be a big screen version of Windows rather than really something completely different, a little bit like a big screen of Steam. So there is a convergence there. And I think the good news is that they are probably designing a certain version of Windows to be more compatible with portable devices compared to the desktop version. So yeah, it's interesting because at the same time you have Valve trying to put Steam OS on more devices. It's like the battle again of OS actually. OS, which means digital distribution ultimately.
Yeah, it's interesting. We've had OS battles, in the past, and we haven't for a long time. So
yeah, and we still have on mobile.
yeah,
So
yeah, that's right.
I don't know what Sony will do will do again. If will Sony stay on its island like almost always or not? That's the question. But I think it for any developers, the closest you have the PC experience from the Xbox experience means there barely not that much extra developing cost to have the two platforms. So I think it's probably good for the developers if you have such a
Yeah.
proximity of the
Yeah.
Xbox OS and Windows.
And the reason Xbox and Epic and all, I like my Steam library, and this integrates with your Steam library, so
Yeah.
that's really big.
I mean, what does that mean? That means like you log in on
Like,
your
you'll be able to like see. I haven't seen what it actually looks like, but like when you look at your library of games, it will contain Steam games, and it will just kind of load them through the OS.
Huh. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
So in that regard, it feels like like the Steam application matter at that point, or
I mean, most people will still use the Steam application, so yes, it will matter from that point of view. But
any price point on this?
I mean, this is an expensive device. Huh? The previous one was rather expensive, but yeah.
But we're talking
not
the
sure.
Steam Deck levels of pricing.
More. Yes.
Okay.
yeah,
So
more.
still more expensive than a regular console that you hook up to your TV.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, gentlemen. So that was I'm not sure if there's any other big items. Well, there are actually.
Super
The
Meat
Blood
Boy.
of Dawnwalker.
Super
You know
Meat.
that game?
No. Yeah. I don't know about that one. Super Meat Boy 3D. So that's going to be an interesting game to follow.
I saw the picture. I was like, that's a bit weird. But I guess that's weird is good sometimes.
If you're
Wow.
a Super Meat Boy, it's kind of baked into the thing here.
Yeah. Can it be successful as an Astrobot or other
Yeah.
like type of game?
I mean, 3D platformers are fun, and we haven't seen a lot of them for a long time. So perhaps it's time for a resurgence. I can see that.
Yeah, absolutely. In the background here, I'm showing the Dawn Walker's game. That one made a splash, I believe, at the Game Awards, if I'm not mistaken.
It's from the Witcher 3 director.
Yes,
That's the thing.
It's former CD Projekt people.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, interesting.
Okay, we're looking forward to that one. And then there was, let me just go down the list.
I think
here.
what I want to highlight is Grounded 2.
Yeah, super excited about that.
Yeah,
Grounded, yeah, and Grounded is totally is. It's Obsidian.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Who was the original? That wasn't Obsidian.
Obsidian.
Was it? The original was Obsidian.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They've been doing this. They're on a good streak. And
apparently.
Well, why is Grounded interesting?
It's just a good survival game.
Grounded is a bit of an under the radar co-op game, but it's a really great co-op survival game actually.
Okay.
Good single player survival game too. Just a good thing.
And
good for kids.
It's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, huh? That's the
the premise. I loved that movie when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Trying to find some gameplay here, but I'm struggling. Here we go. Yeah, this is cool. I can see how this is. It reminds me of you remember A Bug's Life on PlayStation 1? That was a fun game.
I remember the movie, not the game.
The game was really good. I can confirm. Obviously, this was 30 years ago, but
but yeah, it's It was just a cool. I love survival games. I think it's a great format for like exploration, and this is a really good way of thinking about it.
And I think
And
that's probably a very kids friendly type of survival game. Unlike
Though,
hmm?
so the first one was pretty tough, actually. I'm sure you can change the difficulty or that kind of thing, I think. But the first one was surprisingly difficult.
Yeah, but I mean, compared to Son of the Forest, compared to Rust and all these games that have more adult theme
Yeah,
and also probably a bit more toxic and coming from PC, this one is coming more from Xbox. Even if you can play it on PC,
yeah,
it feels more like a console game.
yeah. That's true.
by the way, I'm going down through this list and it's not ending. I thought it was like just 5 games, but I guess I was a little wrong.
Well, they bought half the gaming industry, so at a certain
That's
point you
crazy.
start making some games.
So I'll show you this one, which I know for a lot of older Xbox fans, it's a classic for them. Ninja Gaiden.
Mhm.
That's a series that's been going on for 40 plus years, I believe, at this point.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. That's like the original Dark Souls kind of experience. Obviously, different game, but like,
the original ones on
yeah.
an NES, they would kick your ass. And by the way, speaking of, I noticed Platinum Games are the ones who are making it, which
Oh,
is like
yeah.
an amazing studio.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of blood and gore here, but yeah. You guys don't seem to be excited for this game?
I mean, I'm excited for it conceptually. I don't think I'm gonna play it, to be
Okay,
honest.
fair enough.
If I have, I'll play it to like to know about it because I like it. I like the idea, but I bet it's gonna be super hard, and I only have enough time for so many games like that, and I don't know if this will be the one.
Probably watch somebody play it. Is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I'll do a little watching. I'll do
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Beast of Reincarnation. Do you know about that game?
Yeah, it's
Beast.
just some kind of what was it?
It's
Wild Arts Beast game, but not really Monster Hunter, but story driven with big beast. I think if I
Yeah,
remember correctly.
do
sure.
you need to slay the beasts?
Yeah, probably yes.
You don't need to, but it's encouraged.
It
But you
re-
have
it, it reminds me of a Wild Arts if you've played it, which
to.
was
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
yeah.
Game Freak. It's
absolutely.
made by Game Freak.
Isn't Game Freak Nintendo?
It's Pokemon.
Yeah.
But I do see
Yeah.
the Wild Hearts connection.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Games coming out these days, you can't find an ugly game.
No, you really can't. I mean, it's just like you said earlier. I think that it is both a personal problem that there's just too many things to play, and
Oh
like
yeah,
it's an industry problem too. Like all this stuff looks so cool. Like if a game like this had been released like 15 years ago, like even let's scale the graphics down. You don't have to do it that
Mhm.
much. This would have been everyone would have been so excited about this, and
And
like I am excited, but like I
and
don't know when I'm
this
gonna play
is
it.
despite all the studio closure, all the games being
Yeah,
cancelled, and so it's not like we don't get anything because all studios are closing. It's just we get so many good games. So
yeah,
many
it's
people are
wild.
in the market right now and releasing good games. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I think
think
that
this
it's
is
easy to forget that with all the doom and gloom that like,
Yeah.
man, is there a lot of quality stuff coming out.
Mhm.
it's the probably the best time to be alive if you're between the ages of 10 to 20.
Yeah.
Except for the like crumbling economy, climate change,
I have no
Finding a
idea what
job.
that is.
political instability, so those
If
things
you
can
stay
weigh
in the
on
video
you.
game world, if you don't
Yes,
disconnect, yes.
let's just do that. Let's just matrix this right up. Metaverse.
Sorry, give me a second. I'm trying to find some other links here. We have something called Chronos: The New Dawn.
Can you just check Call of Duty Black Ops 7 and just launch the trailer?
Oh, there is a Call of Duty.
At the bottom of the link.
So, wait a second. Didn't 6 launch last year?
Yes.
So that is
Oh.
uncommon to do that.
Yeah, they usually alternate, but I think they've been breaking that
Oh yeah.
cycle since Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
the remake or the whatever you want to call it, the second iteration of Modern Warfare. So they're going full out robots again.
All right.
Are we reliving that moment where they went? If you remember, Advanced Warfare, was it?
Yeah, Advanced and then Infinite after that. It reminds me of like the time loop of Warcraft, World of Warcraft Classic. I think there's a really interesting phenomenon. Again, coming back to your recursive nostalgia idea, Manu, that like you release World of Warcraft Classic, and everyone's excited, but they also want the continuous experience. Then you release the next, you released Frozen Throne or Burning Crusade. And then you just keep going, and eventually you reach the present again, and then you have to start over again. We see a similar thing happening here. That like time marches on.
It's been 10 years since we got a World War II Call of Duty, right? Something like that.
10? No,
I don't know. It feels like a very long time ago.
Less. 10. Yeah, less.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to see gameplay, by the way, in this Call of Duty?
No, I don't think so. I think when what I read online, that when people were watching that, they were like, "Wow, what is this cool game? What is it gonna be?" And then people are like, "Oh my god, it's Call of Duty."
Yeah.
Oh, now I see. So
it's well done from that perspective.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't feel like a Call of Duty when you see.
It feels like a fantasy sci-fi type.
Yeah, or a like Alan Wake type of game.
Oh yeah, look at that. Inception.
Yeah.
Uninceptionizing. But yeah, this is a bit. I mean, Call of Duty usually does a single player, right? Do they still do the single players?
They sell them
That's
separately.
single player, yes.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely, and maybe this is their, it's an effort to like put the spotlight back on the single player. I could imagine those meetings happening where they're like, we got to really.
I think you have some gameplay in 30 seconds. Yeah.
Here's how about this crazy idea?
Yeah.
What if? Oh, never mind. Or maybe never. I don't know if I'm gonna say never mind or not. I was gonna say like, what if the new Call of Duty is just a single player campaign because you already have multiplayer stuff?
No.
Yeah, that's gonna cause.
But
trouble.
It's you can play co-op the campaign, which is interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
They've done that before, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they've done pretty much everything before. If you release a AAA game every year, you're going to run through the ideas, but.
And they bring back a round-based zombie mode.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to find other interesting things here. There's a cat thing. There are no ghosts in the Grand. Cozy hotel during the day of investigating supernatural threats. Sounds fun.
Sure, why not?
Sounds like they hired a good writer there. And then this one was interesting to me, at least the main character, Mudong, Two Hearts. Do you know anything about that one?
No.
I guess not.
Nope.
I mean, I've heard about it too. Yeah, it's more of a Call of Duty type of game.
Oh, really?
Single player, or third-person action adventure games. I don't know. Or Splinter Cell.
Let's have a look and do some commentary here if we find anything interesting. I thought it was going to be something completely different. I know that it takes place in Korea, something.
Yeah.
There's a lot of drama. People in prison.
Or maybe just.
I see the Call of Duty-esque.
Yeah.
Yep, some shooting. Oh, look at that. Now we can get gameplay. Finally.
Some sneaking.
This is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
This is bringing some Splinter Cell.
Yeah, I was just going to say very
vibes.
Splinter Cell. Yeah.
Yeah, a bit different.
Yep. More Splinter Cell and Call of Duty, yeah.
Yeah, and not just because you have a light on your head. Classic Splinter Cell headlight.
So actually, this one has not been announced on PlayStation. So here's your Xbox.
Yeah.
Your Xbox exclusive.
Yeah.
Well, interesting. They're trying to do a Splinter Cell type-esque experience in some sorts, but they're also having boss fights and some wacky superhero stuff. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool.
Interesting. I hope they find success. Gonna see if I can go down. This one was interesting. It reminded me of Infinity Nikki, a Nemo. Did you see that one?
No.
Let's see. I'll bring it up and we can have a look at it. It also reminds me. It's like almost Infinity Nikki meets Pokemon, but I might be wrong. Really cute. A lot of fluffy characters.
Yeah. Liking the fluff.
But this one you don't know anything about, do you? Oh, look at that. You can change characters, move around. It feels like an adventure game, but you collect Pokemon, not Pokemon. Trademark.
Yeah, looks nice. I like it's
I mean,
very colorful. I like the
the
pink sand.
graphics
Yeah.
again. It's like this is crazy. Beautiful. Do games need to get more beautiful than this? I don't believe so. But hey, what do I know? Okay, this is very interesting. It seems like Pal World opened up the floodgates
Yeah.
of.
I mean, it's so funny, like to imagine that it didn't happen before. It's like people really like Pokemon, and they can only play it on Nintendo. So why hasn't anyone made Pokemon-like things before? I guess Digimon or whatever, but
Okay, let's try to go see if there's another one. Planet of Lana 2. Any information about that? Otherwise, Persona 4 Revival. That's a remake, right? Is that a remake?
Which one?
Persona 4 Revival.
I guess. I'm not. You are the Persona expert.
I love Persona.
Yeah, you are.
Again, I didn't follow the showcase, so I have no idea. But it looks remake-ish. I'll get you some footage. This is absolutely beautiful.
yeah, it is.
And I think I usually tell this about what I enjoyed with the older Persona games, which is I don't have to spend 150 plus hours to kind of get a good experience.
Wait, this is Persona 3, right?
This is 4.
Oh, this is 4.
This
okay.
is a remake.
Because Persona 3, I thought it was a 3 remake. Because 3, that definitely took hundreds of hours.
3 had that. I don't think that was a remake. Was that a remake? I'm not sure. It might have.
Or
been.
maybe I'm confused. Whatever one that I played took a really long time. And I think it looked like that.
But this was on fire. This is beautiful. Okay, I think we are at the end. There's some Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3-4 stuff with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Invisible versus Everyone. That's a fighting game. That could be interesting.
Invincible, maybe?
Invincible.
Like, there's a C in there, yeah?
Invince.
Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen, let's move over to the news. We already discussed the highlights and the Xbox Game Showcase. We discussed the Asus ROG Xbox Ally. Let's talk about this one. A bit surprising for me, maybe not considering the amount of people out there, but it's confusing because, and I'll tell you why, because where I live, there's infinite stock. But apparently, I'm not sure if it is sold out anywhere else, but tell me.
The Swedes just don't want Switch, I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you the story about that one. So anyways, Switch 2 sales topped 3.5 million in first 4 days. What are we learning here?
People are excited about Switch 2.
It's a good start.
Yeah.
The audience, I mean, nobody, I think, was against the fact that it would be a big splash at launch, because I think the supply is there also. That's part of the reason why it's successful, is because it's just available. For us, we saw the queues, like the night, people waiting during the night to some retailers, like old school type of release.
Mm-hmm.
But now is the challenge. Right? Now is what happens in the next 3 or 6 months.
I think the real question is: are we going to be in a global recession by Christmas? If not, I think it does make it like it's a good Christmas gift, right? It's not. The rest of the time, it's. I've definitely talked to people who were like, like Switch people. People I know that like are very committed to their Switches, and they're like, I just can't really justify making the decision. So
yeah,
I think that it will do. The major question of this is: are we going to be in a recession by Christmas? And if not, I think that would be a really good time for it.
Yeah, it's still available. At least in France, it's available instantly.
I got mine from France.
Yeah. So
Let's
it's
see.
there.
Let's see about the Netherlands.
But you see, sometimes you also you have this message that wow, it's out of stock super quickly. So it doesn't mean that it's selling well. It just means it's about if you don't know the supply, you cannot assess if the demand is high. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's just. But 3.5 million in absolute numbers is huge for certainly for Nintendo
It's a
console.
record for them, right?
Yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
record for everyone, I believe.
Yeah. But again,
Mhm.
that's the hype, and we live in a world where we see also that with these video games, some games
Yeah.
they just create massive hype in the first week and then they disappear quickly. So here it's
Yeah.
going to be more about how do you convince other people to buy a Switch if they didn't buy a Switch 2, if they didn't buy it at launch. What are the games that are game changers really for these people on the fence?
Yeah.
And
And right now it's really Mario Kart. It's all riding on Mario Kart right now.
which is already released.
Yeah.
So next one, and
Yeah.
that's why there is a news about they've announced a Splatoon game,
Yeah. I just saw that this morning.
Splatoon Raiders. I saw a joke that what if Splatoon Raiders is an extraction shooter?
Yeah. Yeah.
Be interesting.
Is it?
No, no, I don't think so, but that would
Yeah.
be funny, you know, hype on top
Yeah.
of hype.
I guess I mean you know that I knew or I had a feeling that we would see these things like you could just walk to a shop and pick it up. But I'm very surprised and I mean obviously good for Nintendo for
Yeah.
selling that many.
Looks like it's sold out. It's sold out at Best Buy US.
Okay. But considering the lack of content, that is but maybe it's one of those things because the Switch 1 was such a terrible hardware that people just got rid of it
Yeah.
to get the next one.
Well, I think really what we're seeing here is can Nintendo make the transition into being Apple?
Yeah.
And can it like integrate to with your life to a certain degree that you buy the new one because it's new and you like it? You know,
Mhm.
can
That's
it be
fair.
a true premium electronics in that way? And I don't know. It's possible.
Yeah. So I'll give you a quick background in terms of the Nordics specifically. So there is a distributor that is exclusively distributing Nintendo products in the Nordics, and this is like Norway, Denmark, Sweden, and maybe some in the Baltics or some other countries. But this guy, the story is this guy, he took a trip to Japan. This was 50-ish years ago. Met a Nintendo person, forgot who that was, and just shook hands and then sealed the deal that almost is like for life, it feels like at this point.
Man.
And this company is the company that is responsible for kind of like, jacking up the prices in the Nordics. And for us who are in Sweden, we're paying almost $650
Wow.
retail.
Mhm.
This is the company called Bergsala. And what's interesting about like this company does nothing else. Like they're worthless. Well, not worthless in that sense, but it's like it's just a warehouse that charges premium for nothing.
Mhm.
So hopefully, and I know people told me that the Japanese, when they like strike a deal with somebody, like it's like it's for life, or there's blood, or I don't know, there's something. But it's very weird because the damage with
Yeah.
the consumer and the like the relationship with the player,
Yeah, that's
I
super
feel that
interesting.
is a bit off.
I wonder if it's for life in this case because of cultural, just because that's how it goes, or because there are actual contractual obligations that just
Mhm.
are
You know
really,
what's
really hard to get
interesting with
rid of.
this story? So the guy talked to some people and was like, "Hey, what do I need to like? What's the culture over there?" Like, and they told him like, "Yeah, you need to bring a gift with you when you go to Japan, and like, need to hand a gift." And so he went and bought like a crystal type thing, I don't know, a vase or whatever it is, and then he met the Japanese counterpart at Nintendo,
Mhm.
and I think they just shook hands on the street, and that was like, that's the deal.
Mhm.
And ever since then, we've been stuck with Bergsala. They've done some really cool stuff 30 years ago. Like there was a Nintendo Power thing. There was like local stuff they used to do. But now I feel like it's just like a middleman taking a cut. Okay, gentlemen, I'll move over to the news. This one has been getting a lot of cool
Mhm.
feedback. Okay. Former DICE developers, many of them,
Yeah, your
who
people.
work
Okay.
now at a company called Embracer. Sorry,
Mhm.
Embark, not Embracer.
Yeah,
Embark.
yeah.
We'll get to Embracer. That one is not surprising to me. We'll get to that one. Arc Raiders finally gets an October release, 4 years after initial reveal. They did a lot of cool things, by the way, when it comes
Mm.
to MMAs. Are they called MMLs? MMAs? I don't want to use the word AI.
ML, yeah.
ML. There you go. With regards to their AIs in the game, game looks amazing. I mean, as a former Dice as a former Dice employees type of game, you would say, from a graphics point of view.
Hmm.
Gameplay, I've never been convinced, to be honest with you, but I've heard some really good stuff, and I've seen a lot of influencers give some really positive feedback, which is great. Any thoughts about this game?
I've two things to say. First is just 4 years after reveal, so it tells you how much time it takes to build that kind of game. I think what's interesting is that they have the finals in parallel from the same studio. That was actually released faster than Arc Raiders. Well, I think it was revealed afterwards, so I think it's interesting, and maybe the finals also help them with the production of the game. So that's one thing, and then the other thing is that you don't release a multiplayer game end of October if you're not if you want to position that as a AAA game. Otherwise, you just don't go there. You just don't go around Call of Duty, around Black Friday, around the holiday. So I think there is a signal there that they think they can make that big enough. It's also the time of the year where you have to spend more on marketing because everything is more expensive. See, from a
Yeah.
promotional standpoint, you have marathon that's still around, I think, September somewhere until further notice. So I think it's bold to release on October 30, and I think they are. Let's not forget that the next Battlefield game has not been, the release date has not been announced yet, but you cannot exclude that it's been announced to be within this fiscal year for EA, which means before end of March. But you cannot exclude a holiday release for Battlefield neither. So I think it's interesting.
It's interesting because they've got EA has a history of burying things with Battlefield, so it's not out of the question that they would put those two things next to each other.
Yeah. So I think it's been a long time since you have this kind of AAA multiplayer games that being launched, and that might be successful. That might make a dent to the existing players.
The last time that happened was Battlefield 1 versus Infinite Warfare versus Titanfall 2, was it?
Yeah, versus Titan. I mean the great story of Titanfall 2. That yeah.
Okay, I'll move over to the next item here. Rainbow Six Siege. You mentioned that, or maybe you didn't. Let me know. Somebody else mentioned it yesterday to me, I think. But gets the most transformative update ever today was Siege X launch. Do we know anything about Siege X?
I don't know enough
what
about
that
Rainbow
means?
Six Siege. It's a cool game, but I just don't know enough about it.
Yeah, they are adding back some stuff. They have 6v6 mode. They are modernizing some of the maps. Graphically, visually, it's also free to play. I'm not sure it was free to play before. It was low price, but now it's really free to play. So I think it's good. It's a good anniversary. It's not really nostalgia in this case. It's more of a update, a refresh, and hopefully they will get some hype and bring new players to the franchise. I think there's also a new onboarding experience, so just to get these new players.
Because Rainbow Six is very very difficult to get into.
Yeah.
I've tried, and like you're looking at like the spread patterns of your weapons like before you're even fighting, and it's very difficult from that perspective.
And the gadgets and everything is overwhelming. Yeah. All the specialists and the gadgets and everything. So I think it's great if they can dumb down the gameplay for newcomers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to be looking at I mean, if we remember 12 years ago, 10 years ago, it's funny when we say, like, I just throw around 10 years ago as if it's nothing.
It isn't. It isn't.
But that's the crazy bit. Like 10 years ago, Rainbow Six Siege. They launch, they fail, and then they bring it back up over time, and they just like have this amazing success. And then I think they were really hot 3-4 years ago. I haven't heard much until this point, but I'm very curious to see. I assume it's on SteamDB.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is definitely it's a big PC market, so that'll give you useful information.
Get us some more.
Yeah.
Oh
And
wow!
let's not
Yeah.
forget that in terms of playtime, it's in the top 10 on console. Huh?
Yeah.
It is.
So this is still remarkable to be there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Well, I mean,
that
when
and
you
then
put it
and
this
For
way,
Honor.
You look at that since inception. It's just like and since
Yeah.
like let's say
Very
2020.
stable.
So the past 4 or 5 years, it's been very stable and looks really good.
It's been on an upward trend since end of 2023. If you look at the curve.
If I look at the 3 or 2, yeah, absolutely, this is an upwards trend.
Yeah.
And then we have this big spike now
Yeah.
in June.
It just started, huh?
Yeah, I have to go to the top 10, top 20. Elden Ring has dropped off.
Stellar Blade.
Any other takes here? Stellar Blade.
Yeah.
Wait a second. That game launched like a year ago, right?
Yesterday on PC.
Yesterday on PC.
It has the highest all-time peak of any PlayStation game on PC.
Oh wow.
On Steam.
That's fun.
Yeah.
PC is gonna eat the industry. That's obvious. I mean, it's just so clear that it's been clear for a while, and now it's even more clear that like you're gonna get easier to access PCs, portable PCs, and whatever, and like it's the place to be.
I mean, the moment the PlayStation games become a day one PC games, it's over.
Yeah, it'll be the launch of the PlayStation 6, whenever that is, will be a major thing.
You guys show respect for our console people.
Oh, you can just still play that.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. We don't care.
On the TV.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you guys, so you know that I have 3 TVs side by side.
Yes.
Did I send you a picture? I'm not sure if I sent you.
No, actually.
Okay, but we had Elden Ring, Night Rain. But it's like, okay, because I just want to like hang out with the kids and like, and I feel like if I can do that on the couch, and we went back into Call of Duty Warzone. Here is an interesting fact. They introduced something called casual battle royale, or whatever you want to call it, Warzone, casual Warzone. It's so much more fun because they have bots mixed in with the real people. And you don't just like drop down and just get slaughtered. You have a lot of time to like get equipment, kill more enemies, like feel that you're part of the experience, and that thing has been tremendous for us at home with the kids.
I'm surprised I'm interested by one that it took them so long, and two that they're specifically adding it as an option because what Fortnite and PUBG does is they just increase the bot population the lower down the rankings you are from a matchmaking perspective. So it's interesting they've chose to totally segment it off.
Gentlemen, I want to talk about this game because we saw it on the Steam DB. I want to get your opinion or thoughts if you have had any experience or Dune Awakening. I know a lot of my colleagues at work are talking about this game.
I bought it. I'm excited to get into it. I really like...
Conan.
I liked Conan, but I think there's room to improve on it.
Is this an MMO-ish type experience?
Yes.
What is this?
Yeah, survival MMO. Basically, I don't know how big a server is, but it's not like MMO scales. My guess is it's 100 people, maybe, or 500 or under. Yep. I'm just going to Google it. What am I guessing? But yeah, and there's persistence to it. So like you build your base in the world, and your base stays in that world, and you see other people's bases as well.
Yeah, it seemed it started bad. I think
40,
it was mostly
so
due to connection issues, but now it's rather positive. And yeah, it's a Dune skin on Conan Exile. That's the short version, I think. Which I have not played Conan Exile, so I don't know. I don't really know, but I think
It looks like they might have an interesting system actually from the server question. So according to this, they like players live in sieges, which you might remember from the books and the movies.
Yeah.
And those can support 40 people. But then those sietches are linked together in larger servers. And then there's also a deep desert map which can allow multiple servers. So there's this interesting way where like they're scaling up little by little for a sense give you a sense you're living in a larger world. So I'm very curious about that.
Is it a free game? Is it a paid game? Is it available on console? Because me,
It's is it available on console? I don't know. Who cares?
who can? Come on, guys. It says Steam here. I assume it's not available on console.
So I think it's planned.
Not
It
yet.
looks like it's planned. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But is it a paid game or is it a
Oh
free
yeah.
game?
Yeah. It's $40.
$40. Okay. It looks great. So that is a good
Yeah,
thing.
and again, Conan Exiles was I mean, it's been around for a really long time, right?
Yeah.
So it's a very cool survival game. It does a lot of interesting things, especially with
50.
regards.
50
Oh,
euro.
Oh, 50? Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I clearly just paid that price yesterday, so I should have remembered.
Okay.
I have 10 fewer dollars, 10 fewer euro than I expected. But yeah, and again, Conan Exiles was a
Anyway.
really long time ago, so that and I'm excited for that team to do a true evolutionary step, and Dune is a great world for it.
Gentlemen, move over to the next item here. And I'm very curious to understand why it's on the news. I would love to hear your thoughts. So, Splitgate 2 director refuses to apologize for Make FPS Great Again hat, but apologizes anyway. But I'm just confused all over why is this a news item?
Because you've been living under a rock for the last 3 days.
Okay, tell me, why is this important? I've been playing Call of Duty with the kids. So,
Do you know Splitgate?
Splitgate the game?
Yes,
Is this the one?
that's Splitgate 2.
Okay, well, but what about Splitgate 1?
Splitgate is basically you have it's a portal FPS.
I can get this video to work, but yes, okay, it's a Portal FPS. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I there was a lot of PR stunt from the director of the game to just create some buzz,
Okay,
and he had a hat that was written "Make FPS Great Again" in one of the show in recent days.
yeah,
So it was a bit controversial. I think he also reacted to Call of Duty posting something saying it's like, oh, Call of Duty is always the same. We have some innovation. So there was this attitude issue, which you have to find the right tone between trying to be bold and
you
just
can't
being-
mix those two. Like you could do one of them. You could do the split get the we're innovating when Call of Duty is not. That's fine. You can do that. You need to say it
yeah.
in the right way, but you absolutely cannot mix it with fascist cosplay.
Yeah, and I would say it distracts people from the actual games. And if
Yeah.
the game is not great, you're gonna have double backlash also.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah. You need
dangerous.
absolute confidence in yourself, which why not? Boss
I was just about to say, Dave, you need to commit.
You need to
Yeah.
commit.
Don't
You need-
flip flop.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, next fest, Steam, June 2025. 25 of the best demos you can download right now. Steam is on fire, in a good way.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have a next fest every 6 months, so that's not specific. You have to try. If there is one game you have to show,
Yeah, tell
it's
me.
going to be
Not this one.
Ball Cross Pit. Ball Cross Pit. I don't know if it should be there.
Trying to find Ball Cross Pit?
Yes. No, like X Pit.
Oh, okay. Don't tell me it's like one of those dig a hole type game.
No,
Okay,
it's
let's have a look.
Arcanoid type of game, but roguelite.
Is this one?
Yeah.
Roguelike Katamari. That sounds good.
Katamari is amazing.
Yeah.
So do you know what you do? Oh, look at that.
Yeah,
That's
you
beautiful.
play, you have a base. So this is the gameplay.
Ah.
It's a bit like Vampire Survivor
Yeah.
meets Arcanoid. Yes.
Or those mobile games that you're always seeing the ads for. It's like
Bobble.
those. Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
bubble.
And you can upgrade your balls and there is some fusion and stuff. And also on top of that you have base building elements.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Survival roguelike. I mean, the creativity of these, I assume, I'm just gonna say they're young. developers is just like amazing, especially when they cross and they do these crosses between the different types of genres of games and make something unique and cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a Devolver game, published
Of
game.
course, it's either Devolver or Raw Fury at this point.
Yes. So it looks cool. It's gonna be successful probably. I've tried it. Everybody can try it. There is a demo, which is the way to go when
Yeah.
you release something. And I think there's probably a lot of like hidden gameplay, like you don't know yet how powerful it is. But if you think about how successful a game like Vampire Survivor has been, maybe
Yeah.
that's the next big Vampire Survivor type of game. You can also obviously put automatic shooting, so you just only point to where you want the balls to go, a bit like you have that in Vampire Survivor.
Yeah, which makes it very mobile friendly, right? Because a simplified
Also.
control scheme is always good.
Yeah.
I just got another idea for the newsletter. Maybe we can do like a Steam Fest coverage. Here's the top 10 games you need to care about.
Yeah. I mean,
That's cool.
I put the link because some other people do that kind of list, but
Absolutely.
I wish I had time to play some of these games. That's also the challenge. I think there is another one which is interesting.
Baby Step. That one looks wacky. What's that? So you're a big ass baby. I have to look at this because this looks ridiculous.
Try also Dead as Disco.
Okay, give me a second. Let me just look at this thing. I was assuming you need to learn how to walk like Qua.
Oh yeah, this looks fun too.
Yeah, this is like this is the type of shit that I wonder though how much it's like almost like how much substance is there? Do you know what I mean?
It's like it looks kind of like Death Stranding meets Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy.
Well, Quap means yeah. This is ridiculous. It's fun. I mean, that's the fun bit. That's why games are fun.
That's what matters.
Yeah.
And chat,
make me have fun.
Here is a link. You can also open.
Let's have a look at your link here. We have another game, Dead as Disco. So not related to Disco Elysium in any shape or form, I assume. Is this a dance-off type of game? Parappa the Rapper? Or no? Am I just
the fighting game?
Yeah, but is it rhythm-based like whatever that one from Tango was?
Do you have to fight to the beat kind of thing?
I
like you have to follow the beat?
Those games, I always like doing that. It's fun. It's fun when you get your vibe.
And I also put another link in the chat where our friends have game discovery. They've some insights about what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's he's explaining why. So this is Simon Carlos.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Huh.
So another interesting one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We had an E3 without having an E3. That's what I'm hearing.
I mean, that's how it goes. Yep.
Yep. Let me see here. Give me a second. Let me just go down to the trends. So this one is funny. I was at their offices a couple days ago. So after overseeing thousands of layoffs and numerous studio closures, Embracer CEO Lars Wingefors is stepping down. I think he still has he still owns the controlling shares of the company, if I am not mistaken.
One of the great villains of the video game world
will become an executive chair of the board. So I mean, yes, he does control the company still. Yeah. He doesn't own the majority of the company, but he controls the company.
Damage is done. Huh? I think it's.
Who's Phil Rogers? Who's going to step into the vacant CEO role?
Used to be CEO of Crystal Dynamics, Eidos, and I think another one.
Okay. Yeah, Embracer has been on a journey.
Yeah, they have. I mean, we hope the best for them, right? That's the villain comment may have been. It was just one of the most painful stories of the video game world. Is probably one of the better ways of framing it. But
Yes.
They got they still have a lot of stuff, and we hope the best for everyone that's doing it.
There was another item that happened recently with regards to Coffee Stain. I'm not sure if you covered that, or did we cover that? I forgot. But Coffee Stain either have already or are in the works right now to become like its own entity.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Coffee
Embracer
Stain
still
rolls.
owns, like, will still own
Yeah.
something, but they will operate on like as their own entity or something like that, which is pretty cool in that sense as well. But if there's one cool thing about Embracer, I'll tell you that because I was at their office. Their games archive is amazing.
Interesting.
You go in there and it's like a heaven for like an old school gamer or an older gentleman like us who has some history with games and understands where games came from.
Very cool.
It's an amazing place. They unfortunately only let you in if you're like researching a topic, or if you're like it's not like just come in and listen. It's not a museum, but they are very welcoming and very open to having people show up. It's in the middle of nowhere, like a 3-4 hour train ride or car ride, but it's absolutely worth it.
I'm gonna say goodbye.
Thank you,
All
Manu.
All right. Thank you, Manu.
Enjoy rest of the.
Dave.
You too.
Our only and final commentator.
Yeah.
This
Bye
is
bye.
me. Here I am.
Have a nice one, man.
All right.
Okay,
Here we are.
Dave.
Yes.
There's no pressure.
There's a lot of pressure. Just a ton.
There is an item here saying Japanese gacha game causes unprecedented sales of European 13th century classic divine comedy. I have no idea what this is.
Is there perhaps a gacha game that involves Dante in some way? What is the game?
Well, what doesn't involve Dante?
I know exactly.
Right.
Fate Grand Order.
So Dante Divine Comedy. Soar by Over. Okay. So the game made the series.
Yeah, they clearly, the Fate Grand Order has something to do with Dante, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, this trend is absolutely continuing. I understand why Manu put it here.
Yeah.
Because the trend of like cross media is just like increasing.
Yeah, no, definitely. Japanese media has done an interesting job with Western classics. A lot of it's a lot later than Divine Comedy, but I remember there's a super cool anime about the Count of Monte Cristo, and he shows up in the Count of Monte Cristo shows up in anime like games and stuff sometimes.
Dave, I want to
Yes.
ask you about another topic.
Yes.
So apparently, and I can understand why Manu put it here, but Outer Worlds 2, which we spoke about earlier,
we did,
is an $80 game.
Oh boy.
I want to hear from you, or what I would love to hear from you, is like obviously we've seen some rage from influencer type folks, but they don't necessarily represent everybody. But I'd love to hear. Do you have any thoughts, or do you know if there has been any real conversations from normal gamers, non-influencers, about the pricing of games? Obviously, Nintendo just sold 3.5 million units,
but they didn't sell $80 Mario Karts, right? They sold bundles with the Switch 2, and that's I feel like they've pushed that conversation down the road just a little bit, because that's not the primary way that people are acquiring Mario Kart World. But yeah, I feel like we're going to see that come to bear in the fall, right? Because the problem with the way the conversation works right now is that it is exclusively among people, not just influencers, but influenced people who watch video game news, people who watch the only podcast and newsletter that you need to understand the video game industry. These are the people that like have this information. Yeah. We're really going to see that conversation evolve when people start like showing up in stores, either physical or digital, and seeing an $80 price tag and being like, I thought these things were $70.
I have to say this. Sorry, I keep going back to the Swedish prices. I know it's just a me problem. So if you buy the Switch 2 and Mario Kart World together, they are $770.
That's a lot of money.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Mario Kart World 2, on Switch 2, as a standalone game is $95.
I mean, this is going back to what prices were like for a really long time
Yeah,
for in the industry. Both in inflation adjusted dollars and in real dollars. Like for in the early '90s, you could be paying $80 for
that
a
is true. That
SNES
was the
thing.
case. Yeah.
Now
So
we haven't done that in a really long time, so that's not actually very relevant information, but it is a fun curiosity.
yeah. Okay. Another item on the trends, Dave. Sony lays off 30% of Days Gone developer Bend
Yeah.
Studio. Okay, after canceling live service game. Did we get any updates like from Sony strategy? If we go back 3, 4 years ago ish, there was this like
Yeah, the
hey,
major live service push, that whole thing.
yeah.
Yeah, and
But now, do we
clearly,
know where that sits today, especially related to
I mean,
Marathon is
I'm
probably
trying to
next.
think. Yeah, Marathon, Gorilla is still working on their live service game, but it's definitely it has been a difficult push. It has not worked great, which everyone said at the time, but so it goes.
Um, I'll go over to the rumors. There is one rumor:
Okay, what is it?
Halo. So
Okay,
data miners uncover evidence, and this goes back to what you were talking about before. Okay, they uncover evidence of a PS5 release coming days after Phil Spencer hinted at the return of a classic, which
yeah.
is Halo,
I mean,
potentially.
I think that they will do that if only like there's two you can argue both sides, right? One, you can say that Halo, despite a decade of struggles, maybe more than a decade of struggles,
Yeah.
remains the definitive Xbox exclusive, so it will remain an Xbox exclusive. Or you can say, so that means it'll make a hell of a splash when you finally release it wide. And I
Hell
think
yeah.
that given Microsoft's recent strategy, I think it's going to lean the latter.
I mean, are we talking about a remake of Halo?
Probably not, because I mean they could release the Master Chief Collection on PlayStation would be
Yeah.
a logical first step of that. What about the suggestion of a return of something? To me, sounds like a new game. But the Master Chief Collection on PlayStation would kill, and they've already, it's not. They already know what it is, right? They already worked out all those problems they had when they first released it.
Yeah. Reasonable. Okay. Finally, going to the numbers. Street Fighter 6 sales top 5 million units.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like that feels like the correct number for a fighting game.
Yeah, no, I think that's right.
And
Fighting
Street
games.
Fighter, sorry, Dave.
Street Fighter is always going to be at the upper end of a fighting
It's
game,
the upper end. I was
but
gonna
I'm
say
but I'm
that.
glad that they've done it.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it worked.
I think Street Fighter and Tekken are probably the only ones that really matter these days as fighting games.
As well as I don't know. There's Mortal Kombat. There's
Oh,
Injustice.
sorry.
Uh,
Apologize to Ed
yeah,
Boon here. I
yeah.
forgot
I
about
think Mortal Kombat
Mortal
probably
Kombat, of
has a
course.
slightly larger footprint than
Yeah.
Tekken. But
I'm trying
yeah,
to find. Is it which one are we at now? Is it 11?
no, the last one was Mortal Kombat 1. So
1.
yeah,
How does that happen? I don't
so
know.
maybe
Okay,
the
so
next one is 2.
Mortal Kombat 1. This is January 2025. Over 5 million copies. So that number seems to be the golden number for fighting games.
Yeah.
I was also reading Tekken 8 was like around 3-4 million. We only have one last item
One last item. Let's go.
on the numbers.
Okay.
It's a studio that is dear to me personally,
Arrowhead dice.
and I am not surprised. Tencent, of course, has acquired 15.75%
All right.
of Arrowhead Game Studios.
I mean, I don't know the specifics of the deal, but buying part of Arrowhead, that seems like a really good move. If they have managed to, they managed to make it through the hype of Helldivers, right? So many games they blow up and then they fizzle down and stabilize lower.
Yes.
And clearly they're lower than they were at their height of popularity, but they made it through. And now they have themselves a sustainable live service game, which is a rare thing in this industry.
Yeah. I think these numbers are very off here. I need to correct them. I'm sure these people know what they're doing, but these numbers are wrong. So the The developer is valued at 5.1 billion SEK, which is 500 million. This is correct. This one is wrong though. They did not turn over 100 million USD. They turned over 10 million USD probably.
That's a That's a big difference.
But yeah, I'm really happy for the gang. I know a lot of them, like, they've built the studio over a period of 15 years roughly.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them might want to do other things with their lives. This is an amazing payout, of course. Congratulations to everybody involved. Amazing stuff. Dave,
That's me.
when you are going to YouTube, what is the first thing you watch?
The games industry executive summary, of course.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I know that you love to hit those bell buttons. And
I do. I hit all the buttons, even though I'm subscribed. I just hit them again because
you
of my love
You
of
have to hit them
buttons.
twice after
Exactly.
because
Yeah.
you need to. Yeah, absolutely. Dave, thank you so much for joining us. Manu, you're not here, but thank you as well.
Thank you,
Really
Manu.
appreciate this. This was fun. A lot we covered today. That Xbox showcase
Yeah.
was really cool. I feel like somebody needs to create like a recap from the past month. Here's everything you need to know.
I mean, I'm sure such recaps exist, but not E3. Not E3 has been great. We've seen a ton of good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And we don't have to travel to LA.
No. Which is perhaps problematic.
Right now, it seems like there are some issues. Yes.
Yeah.
Dave, thank you so much again.
Thank you for having
we'll see you on the next one. guysweekly.substack.com. Subscribe, like, all these things. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.
We'll see you.